Welcome. Welcome to week 9 of Jack Canfield's Success Affirmations. 52 weeks. It actually came up. 52 weeks of living a passionate and purposeful life. Welcome. It's been a while, and I am excited to be on number 9. It's a good number for me personally, and let's get this started. So, before we go into week 9, sub themes. Under this, I would like to create the space, the field of intentionality, and to welcome the all powerful, the higher mind that exists beyond any one of us into the space so that we are intentional, we are grounded, and through this space of intention and groundedness, we are also able, because we are capable, um, of paying attention to the intention and to what comes up. Um, I was thinking about what the idea and what the experience, the human experience of success means. And while on a materialistic level, uh, they are the things around everything that feels tangible. Yet there's an energetic reality behind the materialistic plane, and I would like for us to welcome that in and speak to that as well, primarily because success and prosperity on their own um, are just themes, and we have the freedom and the um ability to give these themes meaning. After all, everything is a construct, and we have the ability and the imagination to deconstruct things that we know aren't working in our lives by visiting the beliefs around specifically in this theme success, and also reconstructing, redesigning, reimagining what that really means. Because you've probably come across people who have everything on a material plane and maybe a lot more of everything, and could be very miserable. Uh, and That really isn't joy, that isn't happiness. And so, being able to understand the connection of what success means without demonizing or diminishing the value of material things, because they're just things, and they can they can be used as instruments for good. And so it all depends on the way that we choose to tap into it, access it, allow these transmissions, allow them to materialize, and then uh, get into a higher spiral and a mode of perpetuity where we are cycling, upcycling, recycling whatever is in our field, materialistically and energetically, um, in a way that upgrades us and also benefits others, whether it's people or it's the planet. On that note, I'd like to introduce our first affirmation, which is I'm seeking out and finding clues left by others that help me achieve my goals. And as I start to feel into the energy of the language here, I realize that there are parts in this which are active from a perspective of doing. And there is also a spaciousness, an energetic spaciousness that we create. And so, uh, you know, at the moment, with everything that's going on in the world, you probably notice that a lot of times there are people who are going through what is called an intention deficit disorder, not an attention deficit disorder, but an intention deficit disorder, IDD. And from that space, um, everything that is embodied, thought about, reflected on, projected out into a reality is coming from a space of lack, limitation, scarcity, fear, doubt, worry. And while these are all a part of the human condition, we have the imaginative, transformational, um, and creative God given abilities to opt out of lower frequencies which hold us stuck. And I say all of that because the notion of bringing our attention back towards being intentional, practicing intentionality every day, allows us to choose, because everything is a choice, whether we're doing or not doing, creating spaciousness or not. They're all choices that we make. And I think what will help us is when we intelligently choose and consciously choose to be intentional. And what that does is it creates a vibrational rudder, a direction for us to opt into and tap into higher frequencies of love, abundance, prosperity, generosity, divine creativity and intelligence, health, vitality. And these are all part of universal laws. We individuate them through our life and our living on an everyday basis. But they are things that are holographic in nature. They're everywhere. Just like we tune into, radio stations, we can choose to tap into it. And by planting these seeds, practicing, uh, you know, uh, knowing that we can choose to be intentional, choose to vibrate at a specific frequency, that becomes the dominant feeling tone of our day, regardless of what's happening around us, regardless of um, the social milieu that might infiltrate, permeate our field by being intentional. And so intention then um, becomes the root, um, for us to nurture the environment for something to emerge. If you look at it and think about it, how can anything in the external world, which is really an externalized version of what's inside of us, how can anything in our external world be felt, be seen, be touched if we don't believe, and we don't have faith, and we don't work on harmonizing our internal field, our internal environment towards receiving it, towards um, dynamically acting on those signs, because it cannot be passive. It's got to be an active harmonization and a dynamic that we work with. And so uh, through that lens, uh, when we have established an intention, whether it is through reflection, meditation, prayer, journaling, um, just sitting in silence and allowing things to flow through us, all of this then activates the external environment where people, and other experiences and opportunities are sent our way. And that then becomes scope for us to blend blend energy with what's coming, because it's one thing to have or create the belief. It's another to be able to imagine it, ask for it, create the internal receptivity environment for it, and then still another to recognize those signs of how it's taking form. Because a lot of times we might imagine something based on our limited mind. We might not know how it will take form. And that's why it's so important and so valuable to stay open, to stay in wonderment and awe and appreciation and gratitude ahead of it showing up, because we're already creating the environment so that we can intuitively know. It's direct knowing that this is it, this is the sign, and respond to it, work with it, marry into and blend into the energy coming your way. um, a lot of times we might wonder, especially with our ability to choose, how do we know? Because there are in an infinite set of choices and infinite possibilities. But here's the thing: when we circle back to being intentional and reflecting on where this intention is coming from, is it from the ego or is it from spirit? Is it something that allows us to dispense our God given gifts and encourages us to become better through that, even if we can't see the whole picture, but just a sense of it, as well as for it to be a mode of contribution in some form, then that in itself becomes actualization, becomes materialization. And I'd like to also add that um, as we encourage ourselves to become more aware, whether it's through listening with our whole being, or whether it's through qualitatively asking the field of potential, the higher mind, our guides, our ancestors, um, uh, qualitative questions. For example, let's say, and this is also quite natural to have doubts, to have fears, to have a sense of low self worth and lack. Uh, so, being able to fully and honestly rec- recognize or recognize those feelings as they are, and placing a label on them without judgment, but also asking the question of who would I be without the fear? And who would I be without the doubt, without the limitation? That in itself, that question in itself is a part of your prayerful, prayer filled approach, because it opens you up energetically. It opens your field to a higher frequency, providing you expanded awareness to options beyond what you thought was either possible or not possible. And so I would like to use this moment through this sub theme to invite us to think about many of the lower frequency feelings that we may have, being able to place a label on them, and also without judgment and with compassion, ask qualitative questions. Who would I be? And the release through insight, through visions, through dreams, sometimes just words, or a conversation with someone can liberate a message, a sign that needs to be delivered to you. Let's move on to sub theme 2, which is I'm seeking out and working with mentors who can teach me what I need to know to be successful. And sometimes just a conversation with someone can provide us to tap into this field of possibility. I know that with my own partner, I've had a huge deluge of scope to revisit and reimagine my life and the direction of my life, for which I am truly grateful. Blessings come in many forms, and I think it's important to be grateful for miracles that continue to come our way, because they are all around. And the universe is a mirror, it's a reflector. So the more we we stand and sit and flow in gratitude, we continue to open ourselves up to um, observing more that we can be grateful for. And another thing I think which comes up through this is, I've mentioned this on one of the other weeks that I'd like to bring in again, is that on a level of physicality, we have the physical body, but we also have several other bodies, which is our mental body, our emotional body, our etheric and astral body. And so it's important, when we are practicing intentionality, to ask the our higher mind, our higher self, our guides, to clear and clarify these bodies, to clear our mental body, to purify our emotional body, to be able to help stabilize our body of affairs, because each of these bodies has a consciousness on its own. And a lot of times when we are in environments, we can oftentimes get triggered. And while these are challenges, they are also opportunities to look at not just the trigger and identify it, but also be able to notice um, that there is something within us that's reflecting that back. It's an opportunity. It's a way for us to look at self and acknowledge something that requires our love, our compassion, our attention, and our release. And as we continue to do that, we can vibrate higher, so that revisiting or being placed in those similar environments will not be as much a trigger, but a warm welcome, because we have changed, we have upgraded. And finally, sub theme 3, I just want to go into something that I've written down. I'm alert when people speak on topics directly or indirectly related to my goals, because they contain valuable clues that I want to learn. Um, the experience of authenticity comes through for me, primarily because I think being vulnerable with ourselves um, it has a very strong feeling tone that emanates from us when we are vulnerable with ourselves. And it also provides a rich source of encouragement for others coming into our field to also feel like it's okay to be vulnerable, without judgment, but just creating spaciousness for all parts of us to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel acknowledged. And asking in itself is a very powerful space to move from, to operate from, because it directs us towards a mind space of childlike wonderment, curiosity, acknowledgement that we don't know everything, and what else, yes, and can be powerful modes to step into while we meet people who might resonate, and align with intentionality around areas that we want to step into, or areas that we want to accomplish, achieve, or become more gracefully. Hmm. The other thing that's coming up right now is that there are really no accidents. Yet at the same time, you know, um while we are in specific fields, I think the more connected we are to ourselves and to source, the more connected we are, in all honesty, to who we are becoming, we become so much more discerning about the environments that we want to place ourselves in, who we want to open up with, uh, who we are okay to allow into, our close circles. And it's important because uh, trust is a currency, faith is a currency, intention is a currency. And the more we invest in these important foundational pillars um, on an everyday basis, the more they become a normalized part of our daily living, so that it governs our decisions, our choices, the kind of situations that we would intuitively say yes to, and also have a resounding no to as well. And so, for all the times that we get into situations or experiences that have seemingly gone off or don't align anymore for several reasons, let us use the opportunity to practice compassion, um, compassion for ourselves, grace, forgiveness, which is all about giving forth, in creating spaciousness for the new version. Through the uncertainty, there is something emerging. Allow it time, allow it patience, and reverence, so that it is um, clear enough to take form. The metamorphosis, not just between the caterpillar and the butterfly, but within the butterfly itself and what that means. And so, on that note, I would like to wind down and thank you all for being a part of Success Affirmations. I would love to hear from you, and I look forward to seeing you very soon on our next podcast. Thank you so much and see you soon. Bye bye.